Russia is not sending any representatives to a United Nations court hearing.
This comes as Russia and Ukrainian leaders are scheduled to hold more peace talks today. That will happen at 9 a.m. Charlotte time.
And there's not been much to come out of the talks so far. Both sides are agreeing to set up evacuation corridors and deliver aid to civilians. This comes as the Russian military is increasing its shelling of Ukrainian cities. The Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. is calling on NATO leaders to issue a no-fly zone over the country. That would bar all unauthorized aircraft from flying over Ukraine. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. and Poland are in talks to send Polish Air Force fighter jets to help Ukraine. When Congress returns to Washington this week, lawmakers will take up debate over the administration's request last week for a $10 billion emergency funding package to help Ukraine. Julian?
Thanks, Jason. Russian troops have their eyes set on some of the country's biggest cities, and they're stepping up their efforts. Russia has fired more than 600 missiles since the invasion of Ukraine began, and those forces are still going after Kyiv, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, as well as Mariupol. But we want to pull up this interactive map here. We can actually see just how far the Russian army has moved since the start of the invasion. The green dots you're about to see, this is the Russian military forces. This is where they were in January. But watch this. Take a look. When we look at when the invasion happened last month, you can see just how far those Russian forces have pushed into the Ukraine, coming through the border right there. And then if we look over the past 7 days, you can see how they continue to advance closer to into the Ukraine. Now, we want to drop those green dots away, and I want you to focus on the orange and red dots, okay? The orange is going to show the fighting. The red is showing where those casualties are. When we take a look at Kyiv, they are completely surrounded by fighting and casualties up here in the northwestern part of the city. But when we take a look at Kharkiv as well, there's fighting around there. We're going to move out and take you to the northeast part of that. That's what you're looking at all the way over here. That's Kharkiv near the Russian border. Now, here's where we want to focus on bringing you down south. This is Kherson and Mariupol. So down here, you're going to see this is Kherson down here where we've seen fighting. And then Mariupol come all the way over here. Right here, Mariupol, that's an area that has seen consistent shelling. They don't have electricity. There's no water running there. We've actually heard that they're trying to get evacuees out of there, and they now have that third ceasefire that will reportedly let these refugees get out of the city, but they've tried earlier. We've actually seen civilians die as they're trying to escape that city. So the third ceasefire hopefully will allow some of these Ukrainian citizens to get across the border and into safety. Now, we spoke earlier this morning to a friend of mine who's actually still in Ukraine. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Things are fairly quiet here. The situation in Lviv is settling into a kind of new normal. The food and supply situation is fairly good at the moment, but we are expecting a whole lot of people to come into the city. The one person I have most frequent communication with, I know he's in action, and so every so often I just text him, "Are you alive?" And so far he's always said yes.
To be honest, I don't know what to do, because I get my friend is and other buddies, they don't know what to do because they want help for relatives, but they cannot to do, and we don't know what right now is going on.
Oh, my gosh, That's just unbelievable. I mean, you should never in your lifetime have to text a buddy of yours, "Are you still alive?" Right. I mean, things are obviously that bad that you're having to do that. And I can't imagine for the two of them, even though Joel said, you know, things are fine now, but you don't know how long that's going to last. You could wake up tomorrow, power's out, water's out, communications are out.
And the crazy thing is, a month ago, both of them were living in Kyiv. So they were in there. They had to get that apartment on the fly, move in there. So you've uprooted your life in a span of a month. The city that you once knew as home is now being bombed, and people that you know, as you mentioned, you text them, say, "Hey, are you still alive?" So it breaks your heart.